Hey everybody, welcome back to Begin Again. It's been a minute since I've gotten to say those words, and many of you have asked me, hey Richard, are you okay? And the answer is, I'm perfectly fine. See, what's happened is that my team and I have gone and put together our first full-length documentary, and it's just about ready to be released. It's about 4 of North America's very top karters as they go on to compete at Rock Vegas and just take on the world. We've got 4 big personalities, 4 great stories, and a lot of wonderful action to share with you. I know that you're going to really enjoy this movie, and I can't wait for you to see it. But that's not why we're here today. So the point of today's video is that many of you know Mike Jones. He's the owner of the Dallas Karting Complex, dear friend of mine, and definitely a friend of this channel. And he called me up about, I don't know, a few weeks ago, and he said, hey, I'm starting a karting school. Why don't you guys come out and check it out? And I was like, okay, let me think about this. We've got world-class facility, professionally prepared karts, expert coaching. What's not to love? Other than it could rain or it could be 110 degrees. But other than that, it's North Texas. It's the summertime. We could be running into that, but otherwise, ought to be fantastic. So what I did is I got my son, Derek, and our friend, Trey, and we headed out to the Dallas Karting Complex a few days ago to try out the driving school. And here's the question they were asking. Both Derek and Trey are good athletes. They've driven the rental karts a little bit, but they've never done anything in a proper race-prepared racing go-kart. And so the question is, okay, so how well do they adapt and how quick can they get up to speed? So that's what we're going to do today. See what happens. I'm excited. The boys are excited. Let's see what we get. Let's pick up the conversation as we're in the car driving out to Dallas Karting Complex. Here we go. Got it. I've got my son Derek here, who you guys have seen before, and I've got our friend Trey, who's also going to be driving. Sounds like it's got to be a good time. Derek, do you have any expectations about this, or?
No, not really. I mean, been going out to DKC with Dad and for a long time now, and just doing the rental karts, and those are always so much fun. But today we're gonna crank it up another notch, and so I'm excited to go out on the track and kind of get some professional one-on-one instruction.
I'm not a professional coach.
Well, I guess you want to say you are, just to make yourself feel better, sure. But anyway, yeah, I mean, whenever Mike's doing something new, I mean, we've known Mike for a long time, and he's just a fantastic person, and he does such a great job of really making sure the customer is just having a blast. We know it's going to be first class since Mike's putting it on. And so I'm just really, really looking forward to seeing what this new service has to offer. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really fun day. So Trey, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've gotten to go before to do the rentals, and Mr. Mike just made that such a great experience. Like, it's so much fun. Just a great day. Track is so cool. And even the amount of coaching and instruction of just being on the rentals was a lot. So getting to be one-on-one, I know I'm just going to get to learn a ton about karting and driving. And just super excited, looking for that.
All right, so we're almost to DKC, and we'll fire up the camera when we get there and see what this is all about. Thanks for tuning in and joining us today.
Ready to the day. Let's
go. Do it.
Who's our coach?
Zach Rivera.
All right, fired.
DKC was very busy that day, and there was a lot going on. But fortunately, Zach was waiting for the boys in the pro shop, and it was time to get started.
Hi, I'm Zach here at DKC, Dallas Karting Complex coach, here to make Trey and Derek go faster, and we'll be working on it all day.
Before Zach briefed them on what they would be learning today, the boys suited up in their safety gear.
Very good. It's just as tight.
Be starting from the beginning, basically making sure you guys are comfortable driving the go-karts as hard as you can, right? And so what I like to do is when I first get drivers to do driver experience is show them kind of how the karts function, right? get you sit in, realize how the car turns in, realize that you're kind of twisting and bending the chassis, everything you do, right? It's not just the front end that's doing stuff, right? When you turn in, you're picking up the car and really flexing the whole thing. And there's a huge strategy as to how you're kind of doing that, right? I'll show you guys how to drive the track and race lines. I'll show you guys throttle control and how to kind of get on nice, braking in a straight line, and overall kart etiquette. Like I said, we go on the track over there. I'll show you guys how to come off the track. Like I said, every session we'll be trying to go faster and faster. We'll do some data later, put guys together, see where you guys are good or not good, and we'll go from there. Cool. All right, well, let's plan. Let's do it.
Prior to putting the boys on the track, Zach made some final checks to the karts, which were powered by KA100 engines. Derek was fitted with the red Gillard kart, while Trey would drive the orange Esprit chassis. After setting the karts on the ground, it was time for some last-minute instruction from Zach prior to hitting the track.
How these karts are much different from Renville's. These karts are a lot more agile, right? How they get around corners. When you turn in, this side gets light. It wants to jack, right? Meanwhile, that side's planted, right? So you gotta realize, every time you're making the turn-ins, you're affecting the rear end as well, right? And a big part, like corner one here, how tight it is that when you first do that, right, you really want to let go of the wheel when you're ready to exit, right? The kart's gonna wanna come down flat and exit. If you do that too early, right, in a corner and you drop the kart, it's just going to shoot you out, right? You're always trying to kind of pick up the fart, get all of your turn-in done, and then let it down and release off the corner, right? Other than that, let's go ahead and sit in them.
It was now time to go on track for that first session. At first, the guys were a little bit tentative as they got used to the super precise steering and power of their karts, as well as figuring out which way the track went. They soon learned that Zach wasn't kidding about braking in a straight line. Derek was the first to go off the track under the brakes, but it wouldn't be his last. But no harm, no foul, and Derek restarted his kart with no problem. Up ahead, Trey did not know Derek had spun until he passed him. And sure enough, then Trey had his first spin just a few minutes later. As the session went on, the boys became more confident and faster, even though the spins continued. Here's Trey spinning in turn 10, a corner that caught Trey out several times. Meanwhile, Derek was struggling with turn 1, a slow hairpin corner that demands heavy braking. And if you don't whoa that kart down enough at the end of the straightaway, you're just going to keep spinning in that turn. Towards the end of the first session, the boys found each other on the track with Derek ahead of Trey. Trey was catching Derek, and you just know Trey wanted to make a pass on Derek, but instead, Trey overcooked it going into turn 10 and spun it out again. Finally, Zach waves the boys into the pits to end their first session and then to have a short debrief.
That was legit. Wow.
So initial impressions, guys?
Yeah, it's just amazing what kind of grip the car has.
So fast, so much power.
Yeah,
so
a lot
quick.
of power. Had a little interesting time on the brakes.
Yeah.
Then it was time for the track walk.
Asking the kart, are you ready? Are you ready? You're asking it with that throttle. As soon as you feel like, okay, I'm playing it, I can go. Boom. Now we put it all the way down, right? Actually wanting to get throttle, right? If you ever kind of feel squirrely, you know it's not time to get on throttle, right?
Yeah.
You'll feel it here. When we come off this corner, your rear end, that is by starting low. I like to turn in early. I like to get down early. Turn in, turn down, E for this corner. You'll probably get the most hand sore from this corner. This corner is very physical. When you're doing it fast, it's going to be physical. That's when you know you're doing it right.
Zach and the boys walked every inch of that track, discussing how each turn should be taken, where they should brake, where they needed to get on the gas, pretty much everything they needed for turning a good lap time. Then the boys were right back on track to apply what they had just learned from Zach. And they had clearly listened and learned from Zach because their driving improved immediately. They just looked more confident. But they kept spinning. This time it was from trying too hard. They even did a double spin. If you listen carefully, you can hear Derek laughing under his helmet. Here's the double spin from Trey's point of view. I've never seen that before, but I learned that I would see it again before the day was over.
Wins.
As the second session wore on, the boys got more confident and they got quicker with each lap. But the spins continued as the boys continued to push. Derek found a new place to spin, not just turn one. After many laps on track and huge improvements from both drivers, Zach pulled the boys back into the pits. They were getting tired.
How'd it feel?
Good. Much faster.
Much faster, me too.
These things are legit.
Zach then took the boys into the air-conditioned shop to cool off and to look at the data that had come off of their karts.
Dude, this is where you're losing a lot of your time. It's just through that back bowl.
Work hard. I got a wire in there. Let's roll it in.
They need to, a big part about this corner, like I was telling you guys, you want to be still in the car, but when the rear end is kind of fighting you, lean into it, you know? One of the biggest things with this corner is you already know it's going to throw you this way. So before I even come to this corner and before I turn in, I kind of already lean into it. I kind of already give that cart the weight on this side, so that initial turn in, I already set up to kind of throw all the weight to that side, right?
Yes.
And then it was back on track for the third and final session of the day. By now, the track had gotten greasy in the Texas sun, and the changing track became a new challenge for Trey and Derek. But despite the greasy track and its reduced grip, I thought the boys adapted really well, even though they didn't really understand why their karts felt so different. In fact, at times they looked very good despite the slippery track and themselves being worn out from that heat. Through the first chicane, Trey makes a great save at the exit because he almost spins it. He catches it, and then he just keeps on going. While the boys continued to improve, the hot and greasy track caught them off guard many times, and so the spins continued. Once again, Derek and Trey treat us to another double spin. I'm thinking that there ought to be an Olympic sport called synchronized swimming or something like that. Here's Derek coming down the main straight into his old nemesis, turn one. He almost gets it right, but then carries a bit too much speed into the turn and does a half spin, letting another kart past him. And that sets off a medley of spins. And with that, the session was over, and as both boys pulled into the pits, they were both wondering why their karts felt so different.
What?
That was not my best session.
It wasn't for me either. The kart felt so different.
Yeah.
At the start, I don't know. At the beginning, I genuinely looked, I'm like, wait, did I accidentally grab the wrong kart?
Yeah, now we've finished. We've done all 3 sessions, and I've done my best to improve them. And after a long day of driving, they're pretty exhausted. I'm sure they'll be sleeping well tonight. We really did big improvements and got them pretty quick to fast lines and got them a real idea of what guys are going through on those big races.
Well, Zach, thank you so much, dude. That was so much fun. I mean, you know, we'll do with the rental karts, like, you know, that has its place.
Right.
But this is a whole new. Oh yeah, we talked about that when we were driving up here. We basically said, you know, we always love coming out here doing littles, but we kind of wanted to take it up another notch today. And I would say we more than did that. No to fix.
Yeah, definitely. It was such a fun day. Like, seriously, thanks for having us out, showing us how it works, preparing us, and then just letting us fly.
I hope you guys really learned a lot, and hope you guys could take away some stuff from this. And now when you watch those big races, you know what's going on, what's going through their heads.
Right.
You're having tires and they little mistakes and try to push.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you know, just real quick, I mean, just, you know, in our first session alone, I think he took about 7 seconds off Trey's time.
Yeah.
And I think mine was about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just after one session, we already made a huge difference. And, you know, for all those big racing fans that are really knowledgeable, 6-7 seconds in racing, that's huge. Also, thank you again, Zach. That was awesome.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope to
See you
guys again, huh?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right.
Wow, what a great experience that was. I had so much fun watching Derek and Trey have fun. It was just a wonderful day. Huge thank you, as always, to Mike Jones for just opening the doors, providing this new experience to us. It was fantastic, as always. So thanks so much, Mike. Thanks to Zach Rivera for some great coaching. And it answered the question, hey, can some good athletes who have done some rental kart experience, are they able to get up to speed fairly quickly in a proper racing kart with some good professional coaching? And the answer is no doubt, yes, absolutely. Both Trey and Derek wound up being about mid-pack in a DKC club race based on the times that they were turning. Obviously, they've got more work to do if they want to get to the pointy end of the grid. But to be able to do that on their first day out, it was very, very impressive on all counts. Both Zach's coaching, the driving by Derek and Trey, the equipment, all of that was fantastic. So I've created a little bit of a monster. Both of the boys want to come back and have another shot at it. So Mike, if you're listening, maybe we can work something out. I'm thinking that maybe Zach could actually help me with my driving, and if he can, we're going to nickname him Copperfield because he's clearly a magician to make me be able to go faster. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us, and if you like this video, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the Begin Again channel, please subscribe. It really helps us out. We've got a lot more videos coming your way, and in the meantime, keep pursuing the things that you're passionate about, and we'll see you soon.